So I've asked Crystal to really talk with me about my services. And Crystal and I have been working together for several years. So I thought a good way for us to start our conversation is for her to really share what she would tell someone if if she wanted to refer them to me. So, Crystal, what would you say?
Well, I've referred people to you before, and interestingly enough, the conversation never starts off with me having the intention of referring anyone to you. It starts off with either a personal relationship or professional relationship, and we're just having a conversation about whatever. And the topic of work comes up, and when the topic of work comes up, and whoever it is I'm talking to begins to express some anguish about work or confusion of some sort, I immediately think of you, immediately think of the work that we've done together and how it helped me work through some extremely difficult moments in my professional career.
So let's just backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So let's talk about you and your personal history. And I know you were talking about work being heavy lifting. So where did this belief come from? And sort of just give us a brief summary and then make sure you include that part.
I know where to start. So I would say I'm pretty accomplished. I've had jobs at
You are.
NASA. I worked at some independent schools. I was in the Peace Corps. I have a degree from Harvard. I have a physics degree from Lincoln University. All these accomplishments that I'm really grateful for. I was socialized and conditioned to work. I come from a family where my dad was in West Point. He went to Wharton. He worked for the federal government for the majority of his career. He was this amazing Renaissance man who I always wanted to emulate. Very routine, disciplined, problem solver, reader, golf player. I can go on and on. My mother from North Carolina was ahead of her time in a really different way. My brother talks about my mother as someone who pretty much taught us the soft skills of life. My dad taught us the mechanics of life, but my mom in terms of relationships, supporting people, operating from different perspectives. She did a lot of that and was hardworking in her own right. So my dad's sort of message to us was, you can do whatever you want to, you just have to take responsibility for it. Oh, you want to move to the West Coast? As long as you can take responsibility for that, go for it. So that was the message. And I also watched my parents and how they were when they came back home from work. And rarely was it talked about as, especially for my dad. I'll say for my dad more so. He was pretty bitter, angry. I think his job utilized his skills, but he didn't feel valued. So he had a lot of choice words for the people that he worked with. And so all of us, I would say, accepted that as a reality of work. But you had to do it. And he also expressed, this always confused me, all this gratitude. You should be thankful for this place where I work because that's the reason why we have this house and that's the reason why I can do the things that I do for you. So this place that was driving him crazy, I had to be grateful to this place. So these are the things that formed my idea of work. It didn't necessarily.
So I wanted you to tell them about this concept of work being a relationship. How do you carry that within you? That's part of the model. It's meaning and purpose, it's personal and professional, it's life energy.
Yeah.
So
The relationship, yeah.
Tell me how you're carrying that.
Every part is so, it's so powerful. So when I think about work as a relationship, what the model helped me figure out is I can say, well, make the job sort of a person, a mate. That's how I think of it, a mate. It's the easiest way for me to think about it.
Okay.
Family member, you might let them get away with a little bit more. A mate, however, you can say, do I feel valued in this relationship? Do I feel like we share the same values? Do I feel like we work together well? It really gave me a tool for determining if the environment was good for me. So again, if we return to this idea that I grew up with, that whatever's going on, even if the situation's abusive, you just stay in it. It gave me a way to sidestep that and to say, no, I can work hard and I can feel good at work. And I have some needs. I'm fulfilling the needs of the organization or the space. I also have needs. I have a need to feel like I matter, that my voice and my perspective is important, my work is valued. So when I think about work as a relationship, now I can say, well, are these things happening? Because if they aren't, typically I know within myself I feel bad. I feel unimportant. I have feelings about it, and now I have some place to put them. So I can either, out of that, make a decision. So am I going to have a conversation? Am I going to try to point out the things that aren't working for me and figure out with my employer how to make them better? Or do I believe that maybe it's time for me to search for another relationship?
So, in order to make the services that I provide really helpful, what is the work that you have to do?
Wow, that's a heavy question, because, and I only say it's heavy because it's a lot of self-work. You have to be honest with yourself, warts and all. Yes, you can think you're wonderful, you can think that you're smart, you can think that you're hardworking, you can have accomplishments to prove it. All of those things may be true. It still does not take away the fact that you have to take responsibility for the pieces of your life, work life or home life, that are giving you heartburn.
So, I'm hoping that people have some tools that they can go back to and remember and practice. Use them as problem-solving tools. I use them myself. So that's what I'm hoping I'm giving people, that they don't fool themselves, that work is just this thing that you do. Work is a huge part of our lives.